Okay, good afternoon. Welcome, everyone. My name is Stephanie Tisdale. I'm the director of Stepping Stone Academy at Stepping Stone Scholars, which happens to be on Temple University's campus. And so, welcome to the virtual college exploration event here for all Pennsylvania students. I just want to go over a few things to help us navigate this experience. So, asking questions, please feel free to use the Q&A button to type your questions to the presenters at any time. Your camera and microphone are already off, so you're muted, of course, and your video is off. The panelists can't see or hear you, so please, feel free to put your questions in the Q&A chat box there. And then we also encourage you to please sign up for more sessions, right? So this is one of many presentations. Please check out the schedule at the pacac.org/virtual website to find out more about different programs. And the recording itself will be available. So all sessions are being recorded and will be available. We encourage you to go check it out as well. And I'm going to turn it over to our presenters from Temple University.
Thank you so much, Stephanie. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with the presentation. We have a lot of information to cover with y'all over the next 45 minutes. So we're going to be talking about some educational outcomes that you can expect when coming to Temple. And we're also going to be talking about the application process as well as scholarships and the financial aid aspect of that. The presentation will probably run about 30 minutes, and then we're going to try to do 10 minutes of Q&A. So like Stephanie was saying, go ahead and answer those questions, and we'll be monitoring through that. And we'll be sure to answer everything that we can. Since Maya will be starting the presentation, I'll go ahead and introduce myself right now and then hand it over to her. So hi, I'm Connor Lowry. I'm a first-year admissions counselor with Temple. This is my second year with the university. I am originally from a small town in Michigan of 1,500 people, and now I live in a city of 1.5 million. So a very exciting transition that I've been able to make over the past 2 years. I love Temple. There's a lot of really fun and exciting things to talk about. So I am excited to be chatting with y'all later today. All right, Maya, all yours.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Stephanie and Connor. My name is Maya Morgan. I am a first-year admissions counselor, similar to Connor, here at Temple University. I'm responsible for Northeastern PA and Central PA, and I'm also the contact point for people from Kentucky, Iowa, Minnesota, and Tennessee. I know very random states spread throughout the country, but I also am the contact point for them. And then Connor and I also review applications for students from all over this beautiful country. And so we get to meet everybody informally, and get to know all the amazing things that you're doing at the high school level and what you'll be bringing to our campus once you all start with us. We always like to get started with a little bit of history. So Temple University, oh, sorry, Connor. So Temple University was founded in 1884 by Dr. Russell Conwell, who was originally from Boston, Massachusetts. He had a couple parishioners come up to him and say, hey, we really want to further our education, but we don't have a lot of time to do so. So Dr. Conwell asked what would be the perfect time to further their education, and they all said the nighttime. Hence why we're called the Temple Owls. Our original class were called the Night Owls, and they started off with about 5 or 6 students, and then they grew in size, so they had to move to the Temple Performing Arts Center, or TPAC is what we like to call it. It was originally called the Temple Baptist Church. My apologies. If you look right above me, you'll be able to see our Temple T. I think it's pretty cool for 2 reasons. One, it was designed during our centennial celebration, so in like the 1980s. And number 2, I think it's pretty cool because it was designed by a Tyler School of the Art and Architecture student. And I think that shows that you all are much more than just our student body and people that are coming here to further their educational background and careers, but also you all are a part of our history and our culture and how the real world identifies Temple Owls. As I stated, we started with about 5 or 6 students. We currently have just over 27,000 undergraduate students on our main campus in North Philadelphia. We have 17 schools and colleges, 12 of which are geared towards undergraduate majors. The remaining 5 are a medical school, pharmacy school, dental school, podiatry, as well as a law school. We really pride ourselves on cultivating well-rounded students, and so we try to provide both amazing in-class experience as well as out-of-class experience. You will have some larger classes on our campus that may have about 100 or 200 students in size, and those are typically general education classes, again, because everybody has to take those classes. They'll meet 3 times a week, once on Monday, once on Wednesday, and then on Friday they meet in what we call recitation periods, and you're able to meet in those smaller class sizes of about 29 or fewer students and ask any of those questions that you might not have felt comfortable asking in a room of 100 or 200 other people. Again, Philadelphia is really our second classroom. We have a R1 Carnegie stamp, and so for our STEM majors, science, technology, engineering, and math, we have world-class research facilities on our campus that host researchers and scientists from all over. And in turn for being able to utilize our campus, you all will be able to be taught by some world-class people in your field. Perfect, thank you. Again, we have a pretty large student body, and we want you all to go out and explore both our campus and the Philadelphia area. On campus, we have just over 350 clubs and organizations in all areas that you can think of. If for some reason those 350 do not encompass something that you're interested in, you all can create your own your own club organization. I believe you need about 3 or 4 people, and again, you can start your own club. We have 18 Division I athletics. Our two most popular are basketball and football. Our basketball team plays over at the Leah Core Center on Broad Street, and our football team plays down at the Lincoln Financial Field where the Philadelphia Eagles play at. You all get free transportation and free admission to all of our athletic events within the city, and there's a free tailgate for our football games, which is really nice for you all. So you can get free transportation, free food, and then you get to enjoy a great game in the stadium. Aside from that, we provide what we call the Philadelphia Experience Passport, and basically that allows you all to get acclimated and experience the city of Philadelphia with discounted or free admission to a bunch of different events going on throughout the city. Again, so you can go out and explore a wide variety of different trades that we have here in Philly. So as most of you all know, our main campus is located in North Philadelphia. I think we have a pretty amazing and versatile campus, being as though, again, we are in the middle of the city, but we do still have tons of green space and trees, a quad area where people hang out with their friends, listen to music, and literally a block away from campus, you all can hop on the subway. It takes about 10 or 15 minutes, and you can head right downtown. For restaurants, museums, art, music, whatever you can think of. Again, it's very accessible from our main campus. If you head just about 45 minutes outside of Philadelphia, you'll run into our Ambler campus, and that houses landscape architecture as well as horticulture. You can complete a handful of other degrees on that campus, but for the most part, you'll only be able to do 2 years, and then you have to come down to main campus and finish out. There's a shuttle that runs from our main campus up to our Ambler campus. You don't have to worry about commuting back and forth on your own. If you hop over a pond, a couple of continents, and one more pond, you'll run into our Tokyo, Japan campus. That is a 4-year degree granting university. You all can apply directly there, spend your whole entire 4 years at our Japan campus, graduate with a Temple degree, never step foot on our campus in Philadelphia. If you hop over just one pond, you'll run into our Rome, Italy campus, and that is a first-year experience campus. You all can apply directly there, spend your whole entire first year at our Rome, Italy campus, and then you'll come back to main campus and finish out your remaining 3. Aside from our other campuses spread both throughout Pennsylvania and internationally, we have been able to send students all over the world. Some of those yellow dots are just some additional places that we've been able to send students on study abroad excursions. We have an education abroad and overseas studies office, and they oversee all of our study abroad excursions for our students. You basically, again, can go any place in the world, and they'll ensure that if we don't have a campus or a program there, that they'll partner with another institution so that you all can still take classes and get the credits transferred back over to the main campus. So this is my time to turn it over to Connor. He's going to give you all the ins and outs of our application process, and hopefully answer any of those last urgent questions before you all start to work on and submit your final application to Temple.
Thank you, Maya. All right, so transitioning to talking about the application process, we are exclusive to the Common App. So if you are a senior in high school right now, you have, well, I'll talk about the deadlines in just a second, but you're going to be starting off with the Common Application, filling off the introductory information, the personal statement / college essay, as well as listing off your extracurriculars. Once you get to the university specific side of things, you'll be able to choose which campus you want to be applying to. So if you're looking at the Japan campus, that has its own particular section. If you're looking at any of the other ones, you'll choose Temple University with the subline of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. You'll click on that one, and then there will be questions about which campus, whether it's Rome, online, Ambler, or looking at the main campus in Philly. You'll answer a few other questions, and then one of them is going to be, do you want to apply with your test scores? So we have been test optional for 6 years now, so this is not our first rodeo when it comes to the admissions process and having students applying without test scores. And considering the circumstances of the world right now, we anticipate about 75% of our students to be applying without their test scores. And I mention this because we decided as an admissions office that we really want to give you the flexibility and agency to decide exactly how you want to be considered in terms of your application without hindering you in any regard when it comes to your eligibility to be admitted into the school and your particular program, your ability to be admitted into the honors program, or your ability to be considered for merit-based aid. You do not give up on any of that when you decide to apply test optional. And then we'll have another slide where we show a little bit more about some of the framework for students that are considering applying that way. But once you submit the Common App, and there is a $55 application fee that comes with that, but a possibility to apply for a fee waiver within the Common App if that is a financial burden for you. But once you get that submitted within 72 hours, we will process your application and create a Temple University ID for you and send you an email prompting you to use your ID to create a TU Portal account. So this TU Portal account is really important. It's a communication tool that allows us to send you your actual admissions decision, as well as for you to do the final step as part of your application process, which is complete your self-reported high school transcript. So we don't ask for students to ask their counselor to send it into Temple. Rather, what you're gonna do is you're gonna put each grade that you've acquired as you've gone through your high school academic career, and you put it in line by line into the system. And we do this for a number of reasons, but the most important one is that we want to put all students on the same playing field. Not every single high school weights GPAs, and not every single high school weights GPA the exact same way. So with that, we decided that we want to give you, we do want to give you that kind of extra benefit when it comes to taking the most challenging courses that are offered at your school. So if you got a B- in honors chemistry your sophomore year, what you'll do is you'll go under the grades, grade 10, you took a science course, it'll allow you to list off the subject. What was the name of that science course? Honors chemistry. What was the level of the course? It was an honors course. And then the grade that you got, a B-. And I know that sounds tedious, but this allows us to fully reward students for doing so well in those honors and AP and IB level courses. And that's really important for us as we are not only looking at your overall high school GPA, but we're looking for the story that your GPA tells when it comes to how you were doing in particular courses or how you've grown as a student over the course from junior year to freshman year, for example. When it comes to when you're applying, there are jumping ahead on the slide. When it comes to when you're applying, there are two main rounds of decisions. So there's early action, which means that you're applying from the day that the Common App opens, which is August 1st to November 1st. And as long as you are applying early action, which is not binding, you are granted an admissions decision by January 10th. Although internally in our office, we do try to get admissions decisions out even sooner than that. We like to have all of our early action applications read and received a decision before we all go on winter break in December. So really you can expect to hear late November, December. And then if you apply regular decision, which means you're applying from November 1st to February 1st, you're going to hear back from an admissions decision with us from about 4 to 8 weeks after you've applied and after we've been able to finish reading those early action applicants. So you can think January, February, or at the latest mid-March. All right, so this is going to give you a little bit of a framework when it comes to our average accepted Temple student from this most recent incoming class. They had a weighted GPA of a 3.48, an average SAT of a 1206, and an average ACT of a 27. And there are a few things that I want to point out about these numbers. First, these are averages, not at all minimums. And second, this is only looking at data for students that applied with their test score. So typically what I would say to a student that's interested in applying test optional is that you probably want to have a strong academic GPA, but if your test scores are a little bit lower than the numbers that are listed here, then you'd probably be a strong candidate to be applying without your test scores. And same thing goes when it comes to a student that just wasn't able to take the SAT or the ACT. Rest assured you're going to be considered in the exact same way because we do look at a lot of other things aside from just test scores and the GPA. Like I said, we dig a little bit deeper into exactly how the course is operated, but we're also looking at your personal statement. We're looking at your extracurriculars. If students submit anything extra as part of the Common App, like a letter of recommendation, that gets considered under review as well. We want to really get to know a student for the person that they are, not just numbers that they have as part of the admissions process. We do list our honors program profile separately. So the honors program represents a smaller portion of the Temple student body. Just under 2,000 students are in the honors program. And with it comes a list of some really nice benefits, things like getting to register for classes a little bit sooner, as well as, class sizes might be a tad bit smaller. As Maya mentioned, class sizes are not huge at Temple. The average class size is going to be roughly between 25 and 30 students. And in an honors class, that might look a little bit more like 21 to 24. There's also an honors-only living learning community, which can be really nice. If you're interested in being a part of the honors program, but you aren't able to get in when you're applying as a high school senior, if you come to Temple and you do well academically throughout your freshman year, even as quickly as the end of your first semester, you would be able to apply into the honors program again, so that you can still be receiving those benefits if that is something that you're interested in being a part of. All right, this might be one of the most important slides, and this is going to be talking about our base tuition rate and fees. So the first thing to talk about is what exactly does base tuition mean? So here at Temple, each school and college, like Maya mentioned, there's 17, 5 professional schools, and then 12 for undergraduates. Each school and college has a certain, has a variable tuition. So each one looks a little bit different based off of fees or, different resources and how they tally all that up. But most programs are at this base tuition rate, which is about $17,000 once you include the mandatory fees for in-state students. And then you kind of same thing when it comes to the on-campus housing and meals. That's looking at a traditional residence hall with the base meal plan. But if a student wanted a more premium meal plan, or if they wanted to live in a different styled residence hall, that cost can change a little bit as well. And I like to be very transparent with students when it comes to costs, of course. And really the best thing that you can do is to visit our tuition calculator. You can see the URL posted below on the slide. And that's a really great way to see exactly how much a particular program that you're looking at would specifically cost at Temple. So that is representative of the overall cost of attendance, but that is not exactly what students pay to attend the university. And that is because of things like merit-based aid and need-based aid. So the two sections of that, merit-based means that it's based around your accomplishments. So we look at a number of different factors when it comes to merit-based aid. We're going to look at your grades. If you've submitted your test scores, we'll look at that in addition. We're also looking at first generation status and other things that we can pull from your application, like extracurriculars and personal statement, to help us make scholarship decisions. I would say that we are pretty generous when it comes to the average student that's accepted would receive a scholarship. And for in-state students, it ranges from $2,000 a year to a full tuition scholarship. And for out-of-state students, it would be $3,000 a year to a full tuition scholarship. Need-based aid happens for when you apply through FAFSA, the free application for federal student aid. So if you're not familiar with that process, you're going to sit down with your parent or guardians. You're going to fill out the application and submit that to each school and college that you've applied to and are seriously considering, as well as to the federal government. The federal government will then create an expected family contribution, or EFC, and send that information to each school and college that you sent the FAFSA to. The Student Financial Services Office of that college will then build a financial aid package around your information. So a financial aid package can consist of a few different things. So it can consist of additional scholarships and grants. Those, of course, are the fun ones. Those don't need to be paid back. Need-based aid can come from the government in the form of something like a Pell Grant, but it can also come from the institution. So here at Temple, we have something like TUG, which is the Temple University Grant. And then we also have like the Fly-In 4 Grant. And all of these things students are automatically considered for when they're applying through FAFSA. The other component to a financial aid package might consist of loans. Loans is definitely something that you're going to need to do some independent research on to exactly figure out your particular financial situation and what is going to work best for you. But typically, loans from the federal government might have a lower interest rate or an easier deferment plan. But like I said, do your own independent research on what taking out a loan would exactly look like for yourself. And then the final component is normally something along the lines of like a work study, which means that you are working part-time while you're attending an institution. And then that way you have a guaranteed paycheck while you're taking classes, or it can help offset the overall cost of attendance as a whole. There are many places at Temple that you could get a job at as a student that are either work study or accept work study students, or programs where you don't need to have a work study in order to get a job on campus. But when you have the work study, it's like that guarantee. All right, and then this is another section that I really love of the presentation because this talks a lot about some things that we don't always discuss when it comes to the college search process. And the first thing that I want to highlight is on the right-hand side, which is talking about our alumni base. So we have 330,000 living alumni across the entire world, but almost half of them stay within the Philadelphia area. And that's pretty remarkable because, you know, not everyone that's coming to Temple is from Southeastern Pennsylvania. So the fact that they love Philadelphia so much that they decided to set root here and create a career for themselves and raise families here definitely means a lot because our alumni are still very active and engaged with the college. And this is important for each school and college's professional development center, that they're able to reach out to alumni, and alumni are hiring our students and we bring them back onto campus. It really does allow for us to have really strong connections between our students and our alumni that Temple is able to help facilitate through career fairs or, you know, internship prep and things like that. We also like to highlight that in our professional development centers, we have over 9,000 positions that are posted annually. Each school and college has its own professional development center. So all the information that you receive through these sources is really tailored toward your program and your field. So you get a lot of really good specific information when it comes to applying for internships in, you know, the Philadelphia area and making sure that you're coming to campus and you're really able to build a resume so that way you can get your dream job after college. And then perhaps the most important thing mentioned on the slide is talking about Fly in 4. So Fly in 4 is really our commitment to students to make sure that, you know, if you were to come to Temple, you are going to come here and be able to graduate in 4 years. And this is really important for students because going into a 5th year can be incredibly costly. Normally a scholarship that you received from a college is not eligible going into a 5th year. You might not be eligible for the best loans from the federal government going into a 5th year, so you might have to look at taking out a private loan with a higher interest rate or no deferment plan. It can definitely be a real burden for students to go past, you know, the typical 4 years. And we've decided that we wanted to kind of give you the guarantee that if you chose Temple, we'll make sure that you graduate in 4 years. And we do that through Fly in 4, which is essentially this agreement that says, you know, you're going to come to Temple and you're going to declare a major by the end of your sophomore year. You're going to have an academic advising session every single semester. You're going to take the required number of courses that you need in order to graduate in 4 years. And you're going to pass your classes. Now, none of that is too ridiculous. Hopefully, these are things that you are looking at doing regardless of where you go to school. But if you do those, you know, accomplishments through Temple, if for some reason you do end up needing to go into a 5th year, Temple will pay for those costs, which is really incredible that we're willing to go up to the bat for students as long as you are completing all the objectives outlined in Fly in 4 and you're still unable to graduate in 4 years. Maybe a course wasn't offered the semester that you needed to. You will not have to worry about that financial burden of those courses, which is pretty remarkable. All right, I know we've thrown a lot of information at you over the last 25 minutes, so we are going to spend some time doing a Q&A, but I do always like to highlight that, you know, of course, campus is not open right this second to visit, but we do have a lot of great options to do a virtual tour, as you can see from our URL link on this slide. We also have different, you know, schools and colleges at Temple that are putting out their own information through their own visit websites. So there is a lot of information that we've invested in terms of making sure that you're still able to make a really good, you know, you have enough information that you need to make your college decision. And then, you know, keep an eye out for when we are able to start offering tours on campus once it's safe to do so again. And other than that, Maya's popped back up and we will kind of go through and see if y'all have any questions for us. Please feel free to enter anything into the Q&A, all right?
Thank you so much, Connor. I was just going to say we didn't have any questions, but they're right on it. Somebody would like for us to share our personal emails. And so our emails are just our first name, period, our last name at temple.edu. So connor.lowry and maya.lowry at temple.edu.
Yes. Let's see.
I also have Connor and myself. Oh, sorry, Connor.
No. You're doing so good. I was just thinking about going through the questions and maybe if we could type the answer into one of them, but you explained it well enough, so you're all good. we're fine.
Okay, perfect. And I'll just make sure that we repeat ourselves one more time because a couple of people asked, so in case they missed anything, I'll say it one more time before we log off. Uh, Claire would like to know, is Temple Japan all 4 years only, or can a student go for just 1 year? Do they offer media studies courses there?
So a student can definitely study abroad at Temple Japan for just 1 year. They have 10 different academic programs to complete in all 4 years. I do not believe that media studies is one of those 10 academic programs. So I'm not 100% sure if you would be able to do that on the Japan campus. But you definitely could study abroad in general and do general education courses.
Perfect. Thank you so much. No, I like that idea because I forgot you can see it, so let's just tag team them.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, I don't want to put everything on you. What is the recommended or average GPA that you look for? So I'm going to back up a few slides where I'm talking about the average accepted student. I do like to reiterate that we don't have an average GPA or a cutoff. The average accepted student had a 3.48 weighted GPA, but that's not a minimum. A higher test score can allow for a lower GPA or vice versa, that kind of thing. So we're also looking at, your personal statement, your extracurriculars, anything that you've accomplished that you want to highlight on the Common App. All of that will be taken into account when it comes to your admission.
Perfect. The next question, Matt would like to know, how does the pass-fail grade from last year affect admissions process? I had a question similar to that yesterday at a visit. And so a lot of schools, when everybody kind of went remote in March, some schools did not give out any grades at all. Some schools, I guess, switched to a pass-fail grading system. And so a lot of people are concerned how we're going to evaluate that with this cycle, keeping COVID and the pandemic and everything in mind.
So yeah, we absolutely understand that a lot of schools are doing different things, and you can input all of that information through the self-reported high school transcript. Do we allow for dual enrollment students in high school to transfer their college credits when they apply to Temple? Absolutely. We are incredibly transfer friendly when it comes to credits. Basically, the rule of thumb is as long as we have a comparable class and you've got a C or better and it comes from an accredited institution, it will transfer over. The only real issue I've ever seen is when it comes to something like a trade. So cooking, for example, we don't have any culinary classes at Temple. So a student that does, a dual enrollment plan through culinary arts, we wouldn't be able to transfer over those credits because we have nothing to compare it to. But general education courses, anything in the humanities, STEM, those kind of college courses, easily transferable over.
And how did Temple handle the pandemic when it first became a big thing? Specifically, how do we treat our students?
Yeah, so this is a really great question, and of course, very pertinent right now. So originally the decision was to go about, to try to have about 50% online and 50% in person. So we announced that pretty early on in the summer. So we tried to make up our mind as soon as possible in terms of what we're gonna have the fall look like, but we still wanted to have a very traditional college campus experience for our students that were coming onto campus. So with that, we opened up residence halls, but we had only one per person in room instead of having two in a room. We outlined, exactly what the dining hall experience would look like. We weren't able to have a big cafeteria open this year. So we redesigned exactly how the line process works when people go down the line to get food, and making sure that, of course, students and our staff and faculty the safety is of our utmost priority. And then after the first week, we kind of realized that it probably was still too many students to have on campus. And we transitioned all of those courses to be online. So I would say we're about 95% online right now. There is a small portion of classes that are happening in person. Things like really small lab courses where we can absolutely guarantee that they are 6 to 10 feet apart from each other at all times. So I would say that when we realized we needed to make course correction, we did so very quickly. And we also, any student that was living on campus to take in-person classes, but now had online classes, we fully refunded their housing, of course, to make sure that we weren't putting students in a bad situation either. Are there other ways to apply besides the Common App? Not for a traditional first-year student. We are exclusive to the Common App. Transfer students, there is still a separate application on our website.
We actually look pretty good for questions right now. We still have a few minutes left in the webinar, so if you all still have any additional questions, please feel free to drop them in the Q&A. As I mentioned, Connor and I's email address are our names, so connor.lowry and maya.morgan@temple.edu. If you all have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us directly. If you tend to be like me, I come up with a bunch of questions when I get home, and then I always have to send up a follow-up email, so that's always okay. We just had one pop in. Do you offer good hospitality management and tourism? I'm going to respond to that like individually, so you don't have to worry about that one.
Okay, sounds good. Are you just going to type them a message in?
If you do want to cover it in general, you can, but also send them like a private message as well.
Oh, okay, yeah. I'll talk a little bit just for the general good of the order in case there's anyone else interested in hospitality or tourism. So yeah, I mean, we absolutely do have an excellent program. It's actually, we have a whole separate college dedicated towards sports management as well as hospitality and tourism. One of my favorite things about STHM, which is the name of the school, is that it really relies a whole lot on field experience and internship hours. So students are required to have a pretty hefty amount of, internships and volunteer opportunities as students go along each year as part of the program. And these internship and volunteer opportunities do a really good job at building upon each other. So it's not necessarily the easiest to get, an internship with, a five-star hotel per se. But once you start volunteering a little bit, and then you can start to build connections at different companies and organizations. And that's what allows you to apply for internships later on when you're a sophomore and a junior. In terms of like the actual market of being in Philadelphia, there's a lot of great places that you could do internships within hospitality and around. Definitely like a huge market just being in the sixth largest city in the country, which is really great for that. And then also this is a little bit more anecdotally, or it's an anecdote, is that I just think that the staff and the advisors that work with like all of STHM are just the most superb. I absolutely love, chatting with all the folks that work in STHM. It's so obvious that they care about their students. It's so obvious that they are providing them really good information to get strong internships and to be prepared when they graduate. I think it's really worth mentioning just because it's the human side of what we do, is that the people that are providing you the advice within that school really care about you.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Connor. Yeah, perfect. Like I said, we're still looking pretty good on questions so far. If you all still have anything, definitely still drop them in the Q&A. Connor and I will be sticking around for a little while.
Awesome. Well, it sounds like we've come to the end of our program. And if I don't know if there are additional, it looks like there may be another question in the Q&A.
Oh, it's asking about when the recording will be posted. Will you be able
Okay.
to, that actually might be a better question for you, Stephanie.
Even better. Yep, there we go. So we will continue to wrap up. I just wanted to make sure, for some reason I couldn't open that box there. But yes, so thank you everyone for joining us for the virtual college exploration program. There's going to be a quick survey that pops up after you close this window. Please answer, please respond to those questions. It helps us do things and learn, how to progress with what we're doing. Again, please sign up for more sessions. The website is there, www.pacac.org/virtual. And then the recording will be available on that same website, so you'll be able to find that information there. We want to thank our panelists, Maya and Connor, for joining us and sharing their expertise. And I'm wishing you all the best of luck with your college admission season, and also students wishing you all the best of luck with your application process. Have a good weekend, everyone.